Everyone at the moment speaks about the Europe-Africa partnership, but actually we don't really know what we want out of it. So this event is really to discuss what this partnership should be about, what the long-term vision is, and also what our plan is to get to such a partnership.
We have been doing quite some analysis on this, and we feel that this is no longer fit for purpose. It is a geographic configuration that is post-colonial. What is the interest between sub-Saharan Africa and the Pacific and the countries from the Caribbean? Very, very limited political traction. And what we are missing in this agreement is North Africa. So Europe should deal with the whole of Africa to tackle major global issues such as migration, security, trade. These are the types of things that should be done on a continental basis. And we see that by pursuing this ACP-EU type of cooperation, that we are still dealing with Africa in a fragmented way.
What we would like to do from the European Union is to build ambitious agenda, global agendas. So for us, an ACP is also a platform or a forum, a coalition, you might say, at the global stage. So of course we are going to do our comprehensive negotiations, but we're also going to bring issues like climate change, peace and security, democracy or governance into the global level, because it's a big coalition. Another main issue was very much the discussion on migration, which we had.
This partnership needs to be based on a long-term vision and not short-sighted interests. It needs to be constructed with Africa. So I also want to hear Africans talk about the partnership with Europe. And it should be one that is really comprehensive. So it should look at human mobility, at aid, at development, at trade, cultural exchanges, student exchanges, all kinds of sorts. It should be we should go about the Africa-Europe partnership as we did about European integration 50, 60 years ago. In 2050, there will be 10 times more young people in Africa than in Europe. And 2050 seems to be far away, but it actually isn't. So I think now we should really start to be serious about this new partnership between Africa and Europe we're all talking about, and make concrete plans together with our African partners.
Clearly there is some momentum, there is a dynamism in Africa, and it attracts many players, many partners worldwide, the Chinese, the Gulf states, the Turks and so on. Obviously Europe is a long-standing partner with Africa, has a long historic relationship with it, is a neighboring continent, and we have many intersected interests. We are still Africa's biggest trading partner, biggest investor, biggest provider of ODA, and we have a very intense political relationship, and so it is absolutely important that we keep on discussing with our African partners and with a broader, let's say, audience of media, of interested people, of think tanks about where do we want to take this relationship between the EU and Africa.
In the 1960s, 1970s, heavily aid-dependent countries were following up on the conditionalities that were put to them by the European side. But today, these types of conditionalities do not work any longer. Why? Because these countries have opportunities elsewhere. They can easily run to China, they can run to other global players, and they don't need Europe to get their things done. So the European Union is sometimes overestimating its leverage on several of these African countries. So we should move into another type of dialogue with these countries that is not a kind of patron-client type of relationship, but by strengthening the African institutions that can exercise peer pressure on African states that are not behaving well in terms of human rights, rule of law, democracy and so on, I think we can have much more impact.